Darren Till versus Dricus Du Plessis took place on the main card of UFC 282, Blachowicz versus Ankalaev, and Dricus Du Plessis wins the fight via third round rear naked choke over Darren Till, who loses yet again. Dricus looked really good in the first round, got himself a 10-8 round, immediately took down Darren Till in that round and proceeded to absolutely destroy him with massive shots against the cage, and even had a rear naked choke attempt in that round as well. 10-8 round to Dricus Du Plessis, and then Darren Till made a comeback in round 2 and had a really good round for himself there. And then round 3, as I just said, Darren Till, Dricus Du Plessis, both guys looking very, very hesitant on the feet, and Dricus finds himself a takedown, and Darren just throws Dricus Du Plessis on top of him into full mount, turns over, gives up his neck, and immediately taps to a rear naked choke. Like, no trying to fight it whatsoever. Dricus put it in, and Till immediately taps in the third round. This was truly heartbreaking to watch, because in the first round, I was like, oh my god, Dricus Du Plessis is going to absolutely annihilate Darren Till, and we're not even going to get to see how Darren Till looks in this fight. We're not even going to get to see if he's made any improvements on the feet. We're not going to see any Darren Till striking. This is just going to be a Dricus Du Plessis absolute whitewash performance. Go out there, take down Darren Till, and just finish him against the cage with massive, massive strikes. And Darren Till just let it happen and just stay there against the cage, taking these big shots and pleading with the referee not to stop the fight. But then I was like, oh no, really, really bad first round. And then round 2 happened, and I thought to myself, hang on a second, Dricus is really slowing down. He's breathing heavy. He's being very predictable on the feet. His takedowns aren't really working anymore. Maybe Darren Till has a chance. And then Darren Till starts to land really big elbows, starts to land really big punches as well on the feet in round 2. And Darren Till wins round 2. At the end of round 2, though, they end up on the ground. Darren Till goes for a leg. In the process, gives up his own leg to Dricus Du Plessis, who starts cranking on it. And I feel like Dricus definitely did some damage to his leg at the end of round 2. Basically had a submission, but Till kept rolling with it and just refused to tap pretty much to the joint manipulation. And then round 3 happened, and Till just looked gun-shy on the feet again. Couldn't really land anything too clean. Dricus actually was landing the better shots on the feet in round 3. And then, again, went for a takedown. Till had an underhook. But instead of trying to sprawl the takedown, like stand-up fighters should do against grapplers, sprawling, he doesn't sprawl the takedown. And just like he did against Derek Brunson, he tries to throw Dricus Du Plessis over the top of himself. I don't understand all the training he does with Khamzat Chimaev, and he's trying to throw Dricus Du Plessis over the top of himself. And he tries to throw him over himself, ends up giving up mount to Dricus, who then just waits, sees where Till's going to scramble to, puts in the rear naked. It wasn't even under the chin. It was on the jaw of Darren Till. And Till just immediately taps as well. He doesn't try and fight it or try and get away the hand of Dricus or anything like that, or try and maybe turn back around into it and end up in mount again. He just immediately taps like a second after the choke was put in, and it wasn't even under the chin. I'm heartbroken, man. I really wanted to see Darren Till win. But I told you so. People think of Dricus Du Plessis as this uncoordinated, wild striker with knockout power that's susceptible to getting caught on the way in. And at times in this fight, he was that guy in round 2. He was charging in, getting caught with elbows by Darren Till, getting rocked with knees as well. And Till was landing some good shots. But what people failed to realize in the build-up of this fight by picking Darren Till was that Dricus Du Plessis, one, is a freak of nature, and Till just isn't. Like, looking at the pair of them, it was like a guy on and off of testosterone replacement therapy. It really was. Like a before and after program advert of testosterone replacement therapy, TRT. And Dricus can grapple. And I said it in the build-up, and everyone was like, what do you mean he can grapple? He can grapple. He's a big, strong guy, and he's got really good grappling, and he can utilize that for his success. And he did that. He immediately took down Till in round 1 and just started smashing Till against the cage. And here's what the problem I have with it was. He wasn't doing anything overly good in the grappling to keep Till in that position. Till just wasn't strong enough to get up. Like, that's straight up what it was. He didn't have wrist control, really. He did at the start, but not towards the end. He was literally just sort of like one arm hugging Darren Till around the waist and just smashing him with the other hand over and over again in that first round. And Till just didn't have the strength to get back up to his feet. It ended up being 60-6 in favor of Dricus Du Plessis in round 1 on significant strikes. Clear 10-8 round. He then went for a rear naked choke. He got every single takedown that he shot for on Darren Till. Till ended up getting a takedown of his own at one point, trying to reverse a position, I believe, and tried to end up on top, and actually did some damage at the end of round 1, I believe. I think he like sort of knocked Dricus off balance at one point, landed some shots towards the end of the round. But, man, every takedown Dricus went for, he got. And Till just couldn't stop it. Has no idea what a sprawl is. He kept trying to like dead leg his way out of it, turn his back and step out of the takedown. Had no urgency once things hit the ground anyway. And it's just sad to watch that happen. And he needs to be a weight bully. He's not good enough as a fighter. You have to be peak Robert Whittaker level, who wasn't in his peak when he fought Darren Till, as we find out now. You need to be peak Robert Whittaker level to be good enough to be small for your division and still have success. Darren Till will only be successful in MMA if he is a weight bully. And that's a fact. That's a fact. He will only be successful in MMA if he is an absolute weight bully and cuts himself down to welterweight again. That's his last chance, right? He's injured after this fight. He's going to need to take a little bit of time off. He probably won't be back until the end of next year. We've already waited so long for him to come back anyway, and this is the result. Like, it's just, I knew it was going to happen. I told you, Dricus Du Plessis by sub. People see him as a striker. He can grapple like a savage. And respect to Till for surviving round 1 because he took a lot of shots. He must have been rocked going into round 2. One of his eyes was swollen shut as well, so that can't have been helpful, but I'm running out of excuses. Till probably isn't, because he immediately said, I tore my ACL, you know, leading up to this fight, to Bruce Buffer. Like, of course he has something going on. Every fighter has something going on, or they don't. And I'm sick of that being an excuse, because I know his excuse is, I train so hard. I train so hard. That's why I'm injured all the time. I train harder than everyone else. That sounds like the most egotistical way of describing why you're always injured. I can bet you Dricus Du Plessis is training hard every single day. To look like that and be able to push his pace for 3 rounds, he is non-stop training hard. So it's not about training hard. It's about training smart and staying in shape year round. You shouldn't be getting in shape during your training camp. And that's what it is with Pimlet and Till. Is it a Scouse thing? Dricus posts a picture out of camp and he's shredded because he's an athlete. And he's ready to commit to the game that he's in. You don't want it enough. It's not that you're training too hard. It's that you're not training hard enough. You're starting training camp out of shape. And the guessing game in the build up to this fight, no joke, this was literally the case. We're watching it on Instagram, every single post Darren Till does, seeing how much better shape he's got into every single picture. That's what the game was. How much better shape is Till? Is he going to be in shape for the fight? It shouldn't be that. You should be in shape come the start of training camp. Then the training camp begins. But here we are again. He needs to be a weight bully to be good because he doesn't have the commitment for the game. He doesn't have the danger on the feet at middleweight, and he's not strong enough to keep these grapplers off of him. He needs to be a weight bully. So be a weight bully at welterweight. It's his only chance. And I truly believe if he trained and stayed in shape and then had a full training camp and had a good cut down to the welterweight division, because he looked slim here, and I think he could lose 5 pounds more because his chest is like nothing. He has no chest genetics whatsoever. He's soy. He has no chest genetics. Like nothing pops out on his chest. Like Dricus Du Plessis. Like, they're completely different creatures. So he needs to trim down to welterweight. He said he could in the build-up of this week anyway, and that was another red flag as to why I picked Du Plessis. He was talking about welterweight in the build-up. He could beat Daniel Rodriguez, number 15 at welterweight. He'd win that fight. He'd simply win that fight and outstrike Daniel Rodriguez, who doesn't have anything other than boxing, and Till ain't getting outboxed by him. He would beat Luque, maybe. No joke, he genuinely would probably beat Luque in a fight. He'd be bigger, rangier, and he could land straight shots down the center and play that game very boringly for 3 rounds and beat Luque. He'd have a chance against Jeff Neal. He already beat Wonderboy. Very close fight, but he did. He genuinely has a chance against some of these names in the welterweight division. Alex Pereira is more thick and jacked than Darren Till, and he's 4 inches taller than him. Till, you're a welterweight. You're 6 feet tall, you midget. Let's be real. He's a 6 foot midget. Like, you ain't tall. Leon Edwards is 6'2". Probably tall 6'1" in reality. But he's at welterweight. You should be at welterweight. So trim down the weight. Get in shape. Stay in shape. Like, you just injured your ACL. Here's the game plan. You just injured your ACL, Darren Till. So here's what you got to do. Train. Upper body, biceps, triceps. Get into the shape of at least an athlete, upper body wise. I want to see abs, non-stop, no eating and celebrating a loss. Get in the gym, abs, chest, shoulders, biceps, triceps, shift all the fat off of you. And then try and come back at welterweight. And for Dricus Du Plessis, he won and he looked good. And Dricus did look good, and I should be giving credit to him. Dominated the first round. And if he didn't go for the finish in the first round the way he did, round 2 might have been exactly the same. Let's be honest. The only reason Till really did well in round 2 is because Dricus was slowing down. So if he took his time in round 1 and didn't rush everything, maybe then he'd have more of a chance to do good in round 2. And maybe it would have been a finish in round 2 instead if he ended up on top. But I'll be honest with you. Dricus Du Plessis, I don't think he beats the other middleweights. I think he could. He could beat Vettori. And I think that should be next for him. I think he should call out Marvin Vettori. He called out Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa's fighting Robert Whittaker. I think he should call out Marvin Vettori. But the performance from Dricus Du Plessis, especially on the feet at times, I think Whittaker beats him. I think Adesanya beats him. But he's dangerous, and he always has the ability to land that KO blow. I want to see him versus Marvin Vettori next. 2 basic-styled, dangerous strikers. Both guys will probably negate each other in the grappling, and it'll end up being a striking war. Dricus' power and unorthodoxy and danger versus Vettori's simplicity and toughness and chin. Make it happen. 5-round fight night main event. Maybe a UFC fight night Cape Town. What's the capital of South Africa? Is it Cape Town? Yes, it is. The capital of South Africa is Cape Town or Pretoria or Bloemfontein. I don't know. It has 3 capitals. Cape Town. Cape Town's a capital, you know what I mean? Good old Cape Town. Go to Cape Town. UFC Fight Night Cape Town. Marvin Vettori versus Dricus Du Plessis. Middle of the year. Or May, June. We'll see. That'll be fun. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And Cameron Simon got a good win as well, so good for him. But for Darren Till, it's welterweight, man. That's what I'd say to Darren Till next. Take some time off. Look to welterweight. Maybe Gilbert Burns will lose and still want to stick around, and you could have a good matchup there. Maybe Luque loses another fight and is interested in taking on you if you move down there. But there ain't nothing at middleweight for him. Nothing at middleweight for him. The takedown defense just ain't good enough. It just ain't good enough. And he don't... I keep hearing all this like, I'm born for this and I put everything into this and I've sacrificed this much. You aren't. Because you aren't even in shape. Like, you just simply aren't sacrificed. And it's... I don't want to get into the daughters stuff. But it's such a shame seeing that. Because he still ain't coming in good shape. You spend all that time away from them. And maybe I'm taking a personal dig here. But this is how disappointed I am in him. Spend all that time away from them. And your training camp is us watching you get in shape. I wonder if you'll be in shape for the big fight. You should be in shape and then have 8 weeks to game plan and structure yourself a way of winning a fight. It shouldn't be get in shape. Wow, Till's looking out of shape. We'll see if he's in shape by the time the fight comes around. Oh, 1 week out, we're kind of seeing some abs. You aren't training hard at Tiger Muay Thai. That's a fact. See you later. Goodbye. It's disappointing, and I hate it. And he's one of my favourite personalities in the UFC, and I really want him to do well. And he's still young, and I think they're going to give him another chance. Try it at welterweight. And I think the weight cut, Darren Till, the weight cut to welterweight, if you're watching this, the weight cut to welterweight kept you disciplined. That's a fact, and it does it to a lot of fighters. The fact that you know, before you even started the weight cut, or before you even started the fight camp, that you've got a fight coming up at 170, will keep you disciplined to stay in shape year round, and it will change your mentality and probably make you a bit better. You have to be a weight bully. You're not good enough to fight people bigger than you. You aren't Robert Whittaker. He's a different level. Goodbye. Toodle pip. See you later. Yeah.